Look at National Council of Sports Lugogo. We have a cricket field, we have a hockey field. The grounds opposite were sold to some developers, and yet they were sports grounds. Not to have a teacher in charge of sports in a school. If it is a basketball competition, he's the one who goes. If it is cricket, he's the one who goes. You cannot be a jack of all trades. Sports is out-competing other professions in paying of salaries. Today, the physical education and sports department of the Ministry of Education is supposed to ensure that all schools, all children, all students do physical education. Is it possible? Yeah, thank you very much. Many, many years ago, I used to tell people who asked me such questions that one day we should invest in the youth so that one day we will be seated in our sitting rooms and we watch Uganda Cranes play at the Africa Cup and the World Cup. I am now happy that we can sit in our sitting rooms and we watch Ugandan football teams and other games playing. It is deliberate. You build football from the grassroots. For example, Patson Daka of Zambia, who is playing at the national team now, played against Uganda's under-17 many years ago. I am a former two-time member of the National Council of Sports Board. And during our time, we proposed to government, which was accepted, which was approved, that these students who spend a lot of time on the field, football, any sport, at the end of S6 should be given an extra, was it 3 or 6 points? I don't recall. So that they can be able to compensate their time and access professional courses. I want to challenge the Ministry of Education and Sports to produce a list of the people who have benefited from those points for the last 5 years to prove whether these points are going to people in sports. That is one. Two, today, sports is out-competing other professions in paying of salaries. Today, we see people in England, in Europe, or even in South Africa getting hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars weekly. No lawyer gets that, no engineer gets that. But how can we do it? Uganda is full of talent. It is my considered opinion that we need to first of all establish schools of excellence in all the regions, because naturally people don't want their children to go far away from them. If we could say for northern Uganda, we have Mvara SS, yes. We have Lango College to handle football, we have St. Catherine's, Dr. Bote College to handle basketball in each and every region. Then we change our education system. I saw it in South Africa. At the University of Pretoria, there is the High Performance Center. Not every child will be an engineer, yes, or a doctor or a lawyer. So at P7, first of all, those points I put at S6 should be also extended to S4 and P7, so that these kids can also get good schools. When they do that, at the end of P7, somebody should graduate, if it is graduation, from primary school with a primary living certificate for academics and another one for the sport they were doing, cricket, rugby, and so on. When you go to S4, the same thing. When you go to S6, the same thing. Now, we have got sports science courses introduced at universities. After those people have graduated, where do they go? Today, the physical education and sports department of the Ministry of Education is supposed to ensure that all schools, all children, all students do physical education. Is it possible? The policy to establish a school includes a requirement for a sports field. Is it happening? Don't we see very many people, very many schools that don't have these facilities? After that, I recommend people to go to the University of Pretoria High Performance Center. They've got like 5 cricket grounds, 5 football pitches, and so on. People from all over the world go to that higher performance center to train for the Olympics and so on. When you visit, you'll see many who have gone through that institution. And look at National Council of Sports Lugogo. We have a cricket field, we have a hockey field. The grounds opposite were sold to some developers, and yet they were sports grounds. So look at Mbale Municipal Stadium, where I grew up from, in Jinja, Kachindu Stadium, Masakari Recreation, Buhinga Stadium in Fort Portal, Masindi Stadium. Those ones should be under the control of the National Council, the National Sports Authority. You remember?
Yeah, like
so that they get increased funding. They should be self-accounting.
yeah.
2, we have got very many national sports associations. Some of them don't go beyond Mukono. They don't go beyond Natete. They are called national. Let us look at the sports policy and say, for you to be national and access government funding, you must be in at least 2/3 of the country. So that the children in Arua, the children in Imbale, in Kabale, Fort Portal and Imbale can access the same facilities.
If I interject a little bit.
Yes.
You had, if I could take you back a little bit, you were saying we can have these former professionals maybe into school.
Yeah, I come to that.
Yeah, to a little bit train these kids.
It is easier to train a former football, a former sportsman, cricketer, basketballer, footballer, netballer, to train them to impart knowledge. Because when he talks of a banana pass, he understands it. Not to have a teacher in charge of sports in a school. If it is a basketball competition, he's the one who goes. If it is cricket, he's the one who goes. You cannot be a jack of all trades. Specialization. Then, before we put in place the development part of it, Uganda can win, can perform very well in underage tournaments up to under 17. But because we don't have the required investment at 17, we should connect our players to beyond Uganda so that these scouts who take players out want to take young people, put in 5 years of training to be able to play. What is our target? We should be targeting to play in the English Premier League, the La Liga in Spain, the Ligue 1 in France, the one in Italy, and so on. Because when you play in those leagues, then the standards of the game improve. When you look at the recent performance of Uganda Cranes in AFCON, the difference was between players who have gone through the development stages, all of them, and those who have found themselves there. Where our players, a good number of them, cannot control the ball. I do not want to blame Alan Okello. Yes, many years ago, those who are old enough, you remember when we were supposed to qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations, and Semugabi Nachivubo was given a penalty in the dying minutes. He kicked it to the corner post. Go to the World Cup of USA 94. Baggio, the one who had the ponytail. Brazil and Italy go to the finals. He was a star. He was supposed to score that, and either Italy wins or they continue. He kicked it in the air. So that is part of the development. We should learn, if this ball is kicked and your chest is facing down, where does the ball go? So some of those things are taught at an earlier age. Do we have a serious under 12 primary school tournament in this country?
Not really.
Now, we have got primary schools playing football. We have got secondary schools and universities. Do we have non-student going talents being taken care of? That is why I said at the National Sports Authority, we should have a Deputy Secretary General in charge of community sport. We have LC clubs. We have village clubs. We have district. We should be having 146 district football teams so that we increase on the pool where our national coaches can take. What is Uganda's identity in football? We should have coaches down from the grassroots. So I think we still have a long way to go. Hoima has been built. what is going to sustain Hoima other than international competitions? We should be having Hoima Municipal Council, should be having a football team. Mbale Municipal Council should be having a football team. In Kampala, we have the 5 divisions of Kawempe, Nakawa, Makindye, Kampala Central, Lubaga. We should be having tournaments culminating into the Mayor's Cup or the Lord Mayor's Cup to get all that talent everywhere. Uganda has a lot of talent. It is about putting together a team and people who have traveled to come and put things right.
If we could talk about the team that represented us, because I feel like whatever you have said, to me seem like long-term goals. But then how could we, to start from maybe what has just recently happened, our team that represented Uganda at the World Cup under 17. How could we have these kids nurtured more than what they have to keep them in the game? Because I feel like after 5 years, we will have these talents nowhere.
I have told you that for the super division clubs in Uganda, they don't have their own youth teams. They attach schools to their teams. You find the KCC having an arrangement with Old Kampala and Kololeses. You find, was it a team from Gayaza? It had a connection with St. Juliana. Now, other than teams like St. Mary's Kitende, which has Kitende St. Mary's Secondary School, and then Vipers, the others don't have. This is also key. I do not agree with people who say sports should have a separate ministry from education. That is when sports in this country will collapse. Because today, when you look at the national football, cricket, rugby, basketball, netball, all those players are from schools. So these people should come together. And then let the Deputy Secretary General of National Council of Sports handle a similar arrangement for those who don't go to school. Up to today, we have children, primary school age, who don't go to school. Can we have competitions for them? I have been to Brazil. In Brazil, you drive at night through streets. You find football grounds, people playing football. People playing football. So we need a lot of infrastructure. I need to thank the President FUFA, because I remember many years ago, they called me to attend a workshop. We were heading to 2000 and something AFCON. So now you can see they have attempted. But the district councils, we have district sports officers. How sports are they? When I am an LC5 chairman of Mbale, I'll pick Mukasa, who was my campaigner, to be the district sports officer. He knows nothing about sports. Then there is no linkage between him and the National Council of Sports. Training. We need referees. We need players. We need sports medicine doctors. We need the technical staff and so on. It should start from it should be deliberate that we look at sports as an economic activity, not a recreational activity.